I want to talk about layoffs on H-1B. There are a lot of them happening.
You're in your grace period and you want to do an H-1B transfer. Then once they generate the offer, it could take the law firm 2, maybe 3 weeks to file the H-1B. So we're talking about a month of time. So your 60-day grace period is really like a
20.
30-day grace period. So the backup plan that we have been recommending, the filing of the application keeps you in a period of, they call it period of authorized stay. You have permission to be here after the end of the grace period. It doesn't give you permission to work. But what might happen is, in many cases, the application itself may remain pending for more than 6 months. And they determine, for whatever reason, you don't deserve the B2, they might deny it. It's a little risky to do this, and you should only do it. That page has been archived by the Trump administration.
Yeah.
So it appears like what they'll likely do is that they'll likely not approve you for a change of status and force you to leave the country, come back in to activate it.
Do you have to go out to home country, or can you go to Canada and come back in?
It depends on...
Sameer, why don't you introduce yourself for people who may not have watched our viral videos before? Just kidding.
How can they have not have, right?
Yeah.
If you haven't watched our videos, shame on you. My name is Sameer Khedekar. I'm an immigration lawyer practicing for over 20 years here in the Silicon Valley area.
Nice. Okay. So I want to talk about layoffs on H-1B. There are a lot of them happening. And let's say if I'm on H-1B, I got laid off. What exactly is my option? And specifically, I know we have 60 days grace period. When do they exactly start? Like, when does the grace period start? Is it like the day I got laid off, or is it my last paycheck? And like, can I do P1, B2? Because I know that was like there, but now it's archived. So if you can like focus on that for this video.
Well, assuming in most cases you're laid off after you've gotten your H-1B approved. So I'm assuming for everybody we're talking to, your H-1B is approved. It's not still pending. And if it's still pending, then you don't get the grace period usually. Okay. If you have like a transfer, right? For H-1B transfers, you can start upon the filing of the petition, right? It doesn't have to be approved. And then if you're laid off, you don't necessarily get the grace period because you haven't been given a new I-94 period. But putting that aside, assuming that you've had your case approved and you've been laid off, then yes, you get a 60-day grace period. Okay, not 2 months. 60 days is different to 2 months. Make sure you use your AI to count the exact day. The 60-day grace period generally starts on your last day of employment, right? We don't always know what that is. Usually your employer will tell you this is your last day, right? And if that's the case, that's the day you want to count from. When you do your next H-1B, the way you demonstrate, what your last day of employment was is with your last paycheck. Okay, that's usually the best way to do that. Your last paycheck will have your last pay period on it. Okay. And that'll show USCIS that you were employed up until that date. And then 60 days after that, you are in your grace period.
Okay. I have follow-up questions. So let's say I got the check 2 weeks later. I got laid off and now I got the check 2 weeks later. But the period which says it's 2 weeks before, because that was my last day. So is that the true last date, or is it the receiving of that paycheck?
It's not 100% clear what the government's looking for. I think if we use our common sense, we don't look at the date of the check. We look at the period of the check, the pay period that the check is intended to cover. Because checks usually have that information on it too, right? And if I was USCIS, that's what I would look at. So that's what you should look at too, is what period does the check apply to?
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So let's say 60 days are starting. I am starting to look for another job. Ideally, I want to go through different scenarios, but let's say in this scenario, I was able to find in 30 days. I used 30 days as my grace out of the 60-day grace period. Now, what happens? Like if I found a job, the company is willing to like take over my previous H-1B. How does it work?
Yeah. So you're talking about a situation where you want to, you're in your grace period and you want to do an H-1B transfer, right?
Yeah.
And so you gave me the example, 30 days have passed and I got a job, here we go. That's the ideal scenario because you have a 60-day grace period, but really it takes some time to get the job, get the offer, and then get the company to file the H-1B,
Mm.
right? Which is what you want to have happened within the grace period. You want the H-1B to be filed. It doesn't
Mm.
have to be approved, it has to be filed, right? But it can take a company a week or two to generate the offer, right? Then once they generate the offer, it could take the law firm 2, maybe 3 weeks to file the H-1B. So we're
Oh.
talking about a month of time, right?
Mm.
So your 60-day grace period is really what? Like
Like
a
20.
30,
Yeah.
20, 30-day grace period? Like,
Yeah.
right? For all intents and purposes, that's how you have to think about it.
Mm.
So you just want to have a backup plan in case that doesn't work. That's not a lot of time, right?
Mm.
So the backup plan that we have been recommending, and we're not sure we're recommending it anymore, but I'll explain why, is to do the change of status application to B2.
Mm. Okay. Uh, and I know that is something was kind of USCIS had a web page which kind of said like encourage people like, hey, while you are in this situation, you could do this, like move to change of status, and then that gives them additional time. We don't know how much that is, but however long that takes for that change of status to happen, you potentially can stay in United States and either keep looking for the job, or in this example, because companies going to take time, lawyers are going to take time, so you have a way to stay in United States.
Yeah, so if you're in the grace period and it's coming to an end and you can't change to another status like H4, like maybe your spouse is on an H-1B, you change to H4, right? If you cannot do any of those things, then we would recommend you change to B1, B2, or B2 more specifically. B1 is business visitor, B2 is just visitor, tourist, right?
Mm.
By filing the form I-539 online. Okay.
Mm.
Once that application is filed, the filing of the application keeps you in a period of they call it period of authorized stay. You have permission to be here
Mm.
after the end of the grace period. Okay.
Mm.
It doesn't give you permission to work. It just gives you permission to be here to perform typical visitor activities.
Mm.
Arguably, looking for a job is one of them, right? Visiting family, attending conferences, things like that, the typical visitor activities you can do. On that form, you can ask for up to 6 months.
Mm.
Okay. But what might happen is, in many cases, the application itself may remain pending for more than 6 months. So
Yeah.
either you have to file an extension or you have to leave, even
Mm.
if you don't have a decision in that case. Okay.
Mm.
What might also happen is that they might get to your application before the 6 months are up. They might get to it in 3 months. That happens sometimes.
Mm.
And if they do that and they determine for whatever reason you don't deserve the B2, they might deny it. And if they deny it, then for the past whatever 2 to 3 months it's been pending, you're retroactively out of status, right?
Mm.
So it's a little risky. It's not like fail safe. It's a little risky to do this, and you should only do it if you are only going to try to count on using it for maybe a month or two, in my opinion, right?
Mm.
Expecting to be able to use it for the full 6-month period can be risky. The other reason is what you said. So under the Biden administration, the government was saying, okay, well, if you have a pending B2 and you want to change back to H-1B after you found a job, what we will do, USCIS, is we'll process that B2 and the H-1B when your H-1B transfer is filed, so you can just change your status back to H-1B.
Mm.
Okay, which is unusual because you usually can't change from a pending application, which is not really status, to H-1B, which is a status. But they were
Mm.
saying this is their workaround. This is what they will do for you.
Mm.
That page has been archived by the Trump administration.
Yeah.
So it appears like what they'll likely do is that they'll likely not approve you for a change of status and force you to leave the country and come back in to activate it. So we
Mm.
don't have any evidence yet of what's happening there. We haven't seen
And
cases
they haven't given
that
a new policy as well.
nor will they. They're not going to give you any helpful information. They're just going to take away what they perceive to be previously helpful information. And
Mm.
then you'll find out how they're going to treat you when they actually process your case.
But you guys are still recommending people to do it. But if in this case, if they just reject it, that means they have to leave.
I would say consult with an attorney, because first of all, not everyone should do it, right?
Yeah.
There are some people who have such a overwhelming level of evidence, confirming that their intent is to be here in the U.S. and not abroad and not in their home country, that it could be risky to even file it. Right? You're supposed to have the intent to return to your home country with the B2. Okay. So always check with an attorney to make sure your profile is okay to allow you to file for that. But the worst case is if you get it denied, it's not like yes, you have to leave the country, but you've also been out of status for that period of time that it's been pending. So you have that on your record too.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
And in going back to that scenario where 30 days, I got the job, but it's going to take longer for H-1B transfer, like H-1B application, the lawyers are gathering all the information, preparing the case. I am now at 60th day. Before 60th day, I need to file this B1, B2, considering, I'm assuming they'll consider lawyers, etc. So in this case, they have additional time to stay while the H-1B transfer is happening, correct?
Yes. So the idea is you're staying here under the pending B1, B2 application to buy yourself time, a runway to file for an H-1B. Like that's what we were trying to do under the Biden administration. That usually worked. Okay. That may not work anymore. We just don't know yet.
But you don't lose H-1B altogether.
So, I mean, you don't lose the opportunity to get an H-1B.
Like
you can always get an H-1B.
Right. You don't have to go through the lottery again. You
do not have to go through the lottery again. No. If you've had an H-1B already, you don't have to go through it again.
So worst case would be you go out. Do you have to go out to home country, or can you go to Canada and come back in?
It depends on if you need a new visa stamp. Because in order to come back in, you need a visa stamp. So it really depends on if you have one or not. Once again, consult with an attorney, because if you've overstayed, that visa stamp is no good anyways. And there's no way for you to know that.
Okay. Awesome. I think I understand. And obviously there's going to be a lot more questions. I'm going to let people ask the question. We'll collect the question and maybe we'll do a follow-up session on this. And of course we meet every Wednesday, so they can come there and ask more detailed questions. Thank you, Sameer, for doing this. And I'll leave the consultation links, etc., in the description for people to catch it. Yep.
Sounds great. Thanks, Yudi.
Hey, by the way, if you ever need immigration help, whether it is your consultation for a specific situation or filing an H-1B visa because your company doesn't know how to do it, or you are filing for your own company, O1 or EB1A, Sameer and his team is amazing. I know this because some of our subscribers have already reached out to them, gotten help from them. So I know they have given good feedback to me. So I know Sameer and his team will help you as well. Link will be in the description. He's super kind as well that he wants to provide discount if anybody uses my code UDJ. Again, links are in the description and the details are description. You definitely want to use immigration attorney for special and complicated situations. Of course, the free sessions and the free videos are always available, but in specific situation when you need extra help, make sure that you do consultations or anything that you need immigration lawyers with. Link will be in the description.